Hello and what is up, everybody? Welcome back to another video, and this is going to be part 2 of the How to Beat Liquid at TI7 series. It is also the second game between Liquid and IG Vitality in the group stages. Again, I'm going over every single replay that Liquid played at TI. And this is just for informational purposes. It's for me to become a better analyst and notice more things in replays. And a major part of this is, of course, Liquid being the best team right now. They are our TI winners, and I want to break down everything about them and how they played at TI and in this meta. And of course, things are subject to change as the new patch is underway sometime. I don't think it's coming anytime soon because we just received 7.06, but it's still interesting, and a lot of things carry on even later on. So anyway, let's get right into the draft analysis here. I didn't do a draft analysis for the last video because I entirely forgot about it, but of course I'll do one this time around. So it does seem that ig.v has first pick here with the Earth Spirit, and this does give them advantage depending on their draft style, because they can pick up a hero and just leave Liquid to have two. And I think having first pick is an advantage depending on how they decide to use it, because it allows them to pick up a hero that they really want in the first phase. It doesn't matter if it gets counter or whatever, like they can get whatever they want first of all, right? That's the obvious advantage of first pick. But then you also get the counter pick in the first phase, which the second pick doesn't get to, because you have to pick both of your heroes immediately. As you see here, Team Liquid have to show Earth Spirit and Shadow Shaman, and then ig.v gets to respond with a Bat Rider, a hero that does pretty well against both of these. Of course, he can just like fly over Fissure, does well in the laning stage. He matches up well against both of these heroes as off lane to support. So second phase, banning phase, will come out here for both teams, and Liquid will get rid of the silencer. I do think this is a good ban, because if they get the Bat Rider initiation off, silencer ult can come out and there's no way for Liquid to stop it. And just with these heroes alone, if one of these heroes gets caught, or if a core gets caught or something like that, it will be pretty bad, as it looks like they're already setting up for like a 5-man type of team fight lineup. And Bat Rider is fairly good against that if you can just get that initial pick off. But now without the silencer, they won't have the ability to just go in and get anybody, right? Because if it's Earthshaker or Shadow Shamans nearby, can come in, and like when they have blinks, glimmers, and whatever defensive items, they can just come in and help out whoever gets lassoed. So Weaver will be banned out for ig.v, or for Liquid by ig.v, and Team Liquid will ban out the Lycan. Okay. So I think some of these are just targeted bans. They feel like Liquid want to run the Weaver. Again, it kind of fits with Liquid's playstyle. I went over a little bit in the last video, where they always want to have a hero that's like alone for the most part and just pushing out a lane. Weaver does that really well. In the last game, it was Matama Man on the Necrophos who was that hero, where he just kind of push up the lanes, most of the time solo, and then his teams will sometimes smoke to him, and it creates the illusion of him being alone for the most part. But then sometimes the team will be behind him with smoke, so then teams don't really want to just go for him always, because it's always a relatively rough hero to kill, right? It's not like something squishy and just easy to burst like a sniper or something like that, or like a Luna. It would be always like a harder hero to kill with some type of escapability or just natural tankiness. And as a result, I do think these bans are targeted out towards Matama Man, the Weaver, and the Lone Druid. Both heroes do that role very well. But instead, Team Liquid continuing with their team fight lineup. Faces Void picked up here. Of course, Faces Void, if he gets lassoed, he's kind of done for. But I'm assuming that he'll be playing around his team, and this could still be played by multiple players on Liquid. Mind Control or Matama Man, but I'm pretty sure it's a Matama Man Void. I don't see this being played by Mind Control. It might be though. And now Death Prophet picked up for ig.v. They're looking to push. I expect something like an Oracle to go with DP or even a Dazzle. I think that DP really needs a hero that can save her, because her being able to survive the enemy burst is incredibly important. Pretty much that determines if the hero will win the game or not. If she can survive enemy burst, she will win the game, because everyone will just die to her exorcism if the fight goes on for long enough. If she gets bursted, her team will lose, or she will lose as well. So I'm going to speed through this real quick because I don't want this video to be absurdly long. Again, these will be longer videos. And alright, Liquid will go with the Invoker for Miracle to go with the Void. I still think it's a carry Void here. And GH, of course, will be taking the Earthshaker. So with that, we still have Mind Control pick open, and I think they're really waiting for Mind Control to have a good matchup here, because Liquid realized they do have the last pick. So first of all, they picked the Invoker here because they already see ig.v's mid, and it's good to just pick the mid as you already see the enemy's mid. Invoker is a decent pick against Death Prophet. Doesn't do too poorly in the laning stage unless he gets roamed on super hard, and ig.v do have the heroes to do so. So I expect the supports being mid to help out Miracle to make sure he has a decent lane. Again, Matoma Man is probably on the Void, so he won't really need that much help in lane. Void is a decent solo laner. And alright, the last ban from ig.v will be Mind Control's Darkseer, so they realize that it's a potential pick for Liquid as well. While Liquid take out the Huskar, definitely can go with the Oracle. Oracle looks like he's gonna combo with the Death Prophet at this point, but it might just come out with the Huskar pick to surprise them, and that will give them a lot of problems because Invoker comes online pretty slowly, and even though Invoker is a pretty good hero against Huskar, they just probably don't feel like playing against it. So right now, last pick for ig.v will be a Sven. Not the best hero in this game, actually. It worked out for them last game as Paparazzi played it really well, and they were able to get some really good team fights with it, but of course they still lost. And I think this game he's gonna have even harder time than the last game. Last game he had to deal with a Necrophos, which is quite annoying. Troll Warlord match is okay against a Sven, and then the Nature's Prophet in the late game is actually pretty strong against Sven, just for the fact that he can just sprout him, and there's nothing Sven can actually do. Of course, there's that infamous clip of Arteezy getting sprouted. But now that Liquid see the carry hero for ig.v, they have the overall last pick in the game. They can pick a good hero for Mind Control to match up here, and Darkseer is probably one of their better picks, but it's already taken away, so I don't know what they can go for here. Again, I don't think NP is that great right now, but it's still, but I think it's a possibility. The reason why I say it's not that great because they have multiple heroes to catch him, and then also heavy push. Alright, yeah, that's a good pick. So Venomancer, a hero that's really good against Sven. Until he gets his BKB, it makes him almost useless. Even when he gets Blink, it's hard for him to blink with all these Serpent Wards all over the place. Venom can split push pretty well as well, and then the Gale is a huge factor. As I mean, if Sun gets Galed, he's not hitting anybody, and that's a huge problem for him. And the ultimate as well will do a lot of damage to him because he's always in the front line, so he has a really good chance of getting hit by the Venom ultimate. So that is it for the draft, and I'll speed up right past the picking phase, strategy phase, and the towers to get right into the game here. Oh, that was pretty fast, and let's get right into it. So this is going to be the game 2 between ig.v and Team Liquid, and do my best to figure out how ig.v can play a little bit better against Liquid this game. So already you notice that Team Liquid is just playing around mid. They're already camping 3 heroes on this hill right now, scouting out the Earth Spirit. So they're protecting their mid lane. They're making sure that Earth Spirit doesn't sneak in, place any wards or anything like that. And 3 heroes immediately sent out here to protect the mid lane. And now they're going to smoke. This is nice play actually. And ig.v, in terms of like going aggro or anything, level 1, they don't really have the best options to do so. Like they're not bad at level 1, but I think Liquid are just a lot stronger. Not only do they have the global potential from the Invoker ever to shoot a Sunstrike, but of course they have a Gale and a lot of stuns with the Shackles and the Fissure as well. Don't think that IG want to fight directly into them, and Liquid realized that. However, they get a good initiation here onto Mind Control, and they will get the kill. Do they get the rune though? Yeah, they do get the rune as well. Yeah, they get actually 2 kills here, so yeah, good play from ig.v. They realize that they can't really go aggressive themselves, but in terms of defensively, they can try to go for a counter play there, and we saw it there. They caught the squishiest hero pretty much, the Venomancer, even though his boots, if he gets caught with a stun, disable, he is going to die. That's exactly what happened. And they also, of course, knew that only at most 3 heroes would be there, so they brought 3 of their own, and they found the good initiation. They were able to get the kill. Of course, if it was Liquid to start the fight, they most likely would get the kill there first, but because the Venomancer was the one caught, he wound up dying, and then the Shadow Shaman gets caught out as well, as he has no boots, no movement speed. So already, Liquid realizing that with the Venomancer pick, they can abuse this lane. There's not much that Sven can actually do in this thing. He can go for kills, but it's going to be difficult if the Gale is online, so Mind Control pretty much just has to play around the Gale. They're actually going to send all 3 top actually, and just leave the mid matchup be 1v1. This is another way to deal with potential Earth Spirit roams onto mid, is to aggro tri-lane, and as a result the Earth Spirit pretty much has to stay here, because if it's actually 2v3, Liquid will have a lot more kill potential, and then the Sven can't farm. So if they want Paparazzi to be able to farm, Earth Spirit cannot be mid and try to kill Miracle, and as a result they're locked into this lane, and now Liquid will win this lane as long as they play it properly. In the bottom lane, Void is one of the better matchups against the Batrider, and it's probably one of the reasons they picked it, because he has the time dilation really good, stops the sticky napalm spam, and he'll be able to 1v1, but not 1v2 though. And this is a good rotation from Dogfights. He knows that if he's top, he's not actually going to get a lot done, so he's just going to go bottom and try to harass Matoma as much as he can. He maybe even get a kill or force for a TP, and this is what he wanted. They get the kill and they force the TP. That's really big. In July dies. That's something, and if they get the Sunstrike kill, I would say that's still worth it for Liquid, but it's not bad for ig.v. Definitely, if the Earth Spirit just sat here top, he was just going to miss out on experience, because there's actually nothing for him to do here. You can't kill anything, because if he rolls in, and they get level 2, level 1 they're able to get the kill, right? But level 2, they're significantly stronger, because Shadow Shaman will have a nuke and the Shackles, and once he sees the stun come out, he can just go in and Shackles. Venomancer comes in with the Gale, the Poison Sting, and they'll actually even slowly harass the lane down with the Poison Sting. And of course, Earthshaker will always have the Fissure to cover. So I like that rotation coming in from Dogfights. He is a signature Earth Spirit player, and he is playing this game pretty well right now. I think in this early game, Dogfights is the most important. So top lane, the Shadow Shaman goes down, and mid lane, immediately after going top, you can, we'll watch it because I did miss it. We'll see Dogfights walk mid. A good player from Cicada. He was baited, or baiting Miracle a little bit there with low HP, then he gets salved up immediately with the roll in, and that's going to be an easy kill. In the top lane, we also realized that GH is no longer there, so ig.v capitalizing in every weakness of Liquid's laning stage, because again, they don't have the strongest laners in the world. Void 1v1 can last against Batrider, but he won't win the lane that hard, especially just 1v1. With some support, he can potentially kill the Bat, but other than that, the lane will just kind of be a farm trade, with Void coming a little bit ahead just because he'll just have the better lasting potential. He even goes for the Orb of Venom. Both heroes have Orb of Venom just to 1v1 That's interesting. Of course, the Void will get more value out of it. GH at this point, he's stuck in the bottom lane for a little bit. Again, really good play here from Dogfights, realizing that GH has hasn't rotated top yet. They have the ward here to scout it out, so he's gonna roll in. Now he's got a kill in every single lane, and that puts him at actually still a lower level than GH, because GH has been picking up bounty runes. He even got a couple of jungle creeps here, I believe, as he was pulling for a second there. And again, I think Matoman does have kill potential on the Bat Rider with the GH Earthshaker here. He has to be careful though, he's taking a lot of damage from Firefly, but Bat Rider does manage to sneak away here, and he should get out. Top lane is still 2v1 at this point. I don't see Oracle leaving this lane unless something like insane happens, like a dive where he can join in and participate. At this point, he really just wants to stay top and pull as much as he can, even stack this camp for the Sven. But again, no one from Liquid can actually farm this until the Venomancer gets more points up in the Plague Wards, and he's opting to put 2 points in Gale. So I think they're safe with stacking this camp for Sven and letting him farm it later. Kuroki actually has rotated out of the top lane as he's died multiple times now in the top lane, so he really has no place being there. He can't play aggressive, and if he were to play top, all he could do is just sit there and, you know, wait for them to go on the Venomancer or something like that. So he'd rather sit mid and then have the TP available to go top, because Venomancer should be able to play relatively safely. And this is what I expected from Liquid right at the start of the game, for them to just triple protect mid like this. I think it was interesting play for them to decide to try to start top and force the Earth Spirit there to make sure he doesn't roam, but that didn't really work out. As you saw, Dogfights did a really good job of realizing nothing can be done top anyway if he was to sit there, so he didn't take that bait from Liquid, I guess, and rotated to the bottom lane, got a kill there, went to mid, got a kill, and then went back to top, got a kill. But in terms of experience, he's still far behind GH, because GH has been pulling and picking up bounty runes. In this game, GH is playing the Arcane Boots and Fissure Earthshaker. So you see in other games, he does change up his item build significantly. Last game he went for the same build, but then he went for Tranquils because he realized he was going to be roaming more. But this is a slower game, so he wants to be able to just sustain and then just fissure when he needs to protect heroes, because they need to wait for Miracle to get online. So as for Liquid's game plan this game, of course it is to get Miracle online. He needs his Midas, he needs his Aghanims, and then at that point they're ready to fight. Mind Control's job is just really to take these early game fights and push out the lanes as much as he can. Force rotations from ig.v, just create space on the map for Miracle and make it difficult for the Sven to team fight early, which may just prompt him to just farm a little bit more, which will in turn give space to Miracle, because this is what the hero wants to do anyway. A hero like Sven wants to just really farm up as much as he can. He doesn't really care if about playing aggressively and pushing or anything like that. All he really wants is to get as much farm as he can, because he becomes so powerful after he gets his like 1 or 2 items, just like Mask of Madness, Blink, +1, like either it could be a BKB if he's going all in for like a team fight and winning the game real fast, or it could be like Echo Saber or anything like that. So as you can see already, Paparazzi is just moving to the jungle, doesn't want to deal with Mind Control, and this is where Mind Control can abuse his hero to start putting pressure onto the safe lane tower. And even if the Oracle is up there, he can't really do anything. So because of this matchup, because of Kuro's drafting, the Venomancer versus Sven matchup will just allow Mind Control to get a very fast tier 1 by himself without much effort. And they're only going to commit GH here. He's even going to steal the stack here from the Sven. In the meantime, they want to put as much pressure onto Miracle as possible. If they're not going to contest top, they need to put pressure elsewhere, but really nice chrono from Matoman will turn this around. And they get 1 kill, but now with the DP ultimate coming out, they can't really fight, so they'll have to back themselves off. She has a pretty healthy 1 charge as well. And the heroes get caught out. So this is a really deep dive from ig.v. They feel like they need to get something done and slow down this invoker. They do kill Miracle, and Sakata will continue getting kills, and this might end up being worth it if Sakata gets out of this one. If he doesn't, without getting more kills for himself, oh, nice silence, but it doesn't last long enough, and he will end up going down here. So Sven was farming that whole time. They lost the top tower. That's not the worst trade from ig.v in the world, but of course it's not good either. Bat Rider is slowed now in terms of his item progression because he went for that deep gank, and he won't have a blink anytime soon, which I feel like is really important. They're prioritizing the Sven's farm right now. They're just making space for him, but I think that Bat's farm is pretty important here. If he gets a fast blink, he can go in and pretty much force Liquid to 5-man, because as I said, if he gets the blink, he has kill potential onto the Void just with the help of like an Earth Spirit or something, and that is a huge deal because then at some point Liquid can't really split with any of their heroes, and they just kind of have to sit back and farm for a little bit and try to go for team fights. And as long as they avoid that properly from ig.v, they're in a good position. As you see, mind control, like he took the top tower, but that's the farthest he can go at this point. Can't really control this top lane area, which a lot of Venomancers like to do, or just aggressive heroes that can take the off lane. They like to play up here. You see it a lot with Beastmasters. Sometimes Nature's Prophet will do that, but mind control can't really do that at the moment because of the catch potential from ig.v. If the Sven wraps around, he does have the damage output with the stuns to just burst the Veno, so he kind of has to play and take the safe farm because Miracle is not ready to go into the jungle yet. He's still farming the mid lane, and all his farm can be taken by mind control. And I see already Paparazzi feeling strong with the Mask of Madness. They're going to go for the smoke gank and get a kill there. But again, it's only going to be onto Kuroki, and he's eaten a lot of ganks for his team already. He's more than, or exactly half the deaths of his team. Mind control will position himself aggressively, and Liquid have Chrono again. That's why they're playing aggressive like this, and they're looking for this kill onto DP, and if they get it, it's huge. Good Chrono from Atama Man. Stops the Oracle. If he didn't catch the Oracle there, that would have been disastrous. Oracle would have saved the DP, and she would have healed up most likely from the Spirit Siphon, her magic wand, and take the fight. But really nice team fight. We can go back and watch how that started out here. So, hold on, we gotta go further back. So mind control was just farming the jungle, right? And they saw the gank bottom, and immediately, as soon as they saw the gank bottom, watch what GH does, watch what Matama Man does. Matama Man, who was in the bottom lane, TP's mid, and they're like, we're gonna fight, we're gonna get the DP. You see the ping there, and they want to go. Kuroki's already pinging. Mind control is walking in, and of course this is under ig.v vision. They see all of this, but they just didn't respond accordingly. This is an execution problem. They just weren't prepared for all of this, and this was a really good opportunity for Liquid. So even if they were prepared, they had to execute a lot better than Liquid, because Liquid just had the advantage. They knew the Sven ultimate was down. The Sven didn't even want to be there. He wanted to just push bottom, and as a result, they get a good Chrono. And still, you can see how close the fight was, but because they just played it properly, took the good opportunity. They knew that Sven wasn't going to be there. They can get the 2 kills and trade it 2 for 2 and get the mid tower as well, I believe, during this. Yep. And of course, Sven is still gonna farm. And this is when, like, a smoke gank, if it's eaten by a support, if you capitalize on it properly, like, it will end up being a win for your team. Like, if the enemy team just uses smoke and kill your support and you don't do anything about it, like, of course it's still a waste of their time, but it's only in certain scenarios where it will actually be bad. But you see there where it actually was bad, that they just smoked and killed Curl there instead of a Tumble Man, and where eating the gank is actually beneficial. And Kuro, like his death there benefited his team. I think he ended up dying again, but at this point, he doesn't really care. He'll get some space for himself now in the bottom lane. So this is something that's important, where the support will find time to farm. And some supports, 5 positions, get more time to do this than others. But I think from a Shadow Shaman, it's important for him to get at least his mana boots up. In the meantime, though, Mind Control and GH are creating a lot of space in the top lane, and you can look at GH's Blink Dagger timing, and he'll have one very soon. And that's mostly because this tower went down. He survived this fight, I believe, and with that, he'll have his Blink, and this is huge for Liquid. I think if you're to play against Liquid, you have to be really careful about what team fights you give them, because the way they play the team fights, like they'll lose certain heroes. Like Matama Man died there, and he's actually relatively under farm. Let's open up the net worth real quick here. And yeah, he's actually the least farmed hero on his team right now, but he's playing more so the offlaner role. Mind Control getting farm priority, of course. He's farmed a lot in the jungle and stuff like that. Where if you look at Matama Man, he's not farming at all right now. Like he is actually just sitting here because his chrono is about to be up, and like he wants to buy his Mask of Madness or whatever. Yeah, Mask of Madness, but he actually might decide to change his item build up a little bit here, because he does have the Mask of Madness queued up, but I could also see the potential for Vlad's for him here. This time he does get the chrono onto the DP, but the Oracle ultimate comes out, but this is, again, is just forcing an ultimate out of ig.v. Not really the best trade there. In the meantime, though, the Bat Rider found a pick off onto Mind Control. Notice this is why he wasn't playing this top area before. He felt more confident now with, I don't think he had the mech on him, so he just felt more confident because he's higher level. Felt like ig.v were weaker, but he still gets punished for that. In the meantime, though, Earth Spirit gets picked off here at the ruin spot. What actually happened? I want to go back and see that. Earth Spirit rolls in. Oh, he just got greedy. He thought he could find a pick or something on a hero retreating, but they were ready with the fissure. Shadow Shaman dropped the wards there. Arguably worth it, actually. The fact that he forced the wards out from the Shadow Shaman. Actually, probably not, because Liquid don't want to push anytime soon. They'll probably push bottom with the ultimate used from the Oracle, and they still have the blink onto GH with Echo, and they do have the potential to do this even without the Chronosphere. At this point, the Matama Man will go back to farming with his Chrono on cooldown. So again, what I was saying before all of this broke out is, if you're playing against Liquid, you have to be careful about giving them certain team fights, because they'll like happily lose Matama Man in some of these team fights for GH to get farmed. You notice even later on, like Kuroki, of course, is never the value you kill when you're playing against Liquid. He usually takes a lot of deaths for his team. He tanks smokes and things like that, and he'll take the death so that his other players can get farmed. It's the 4 core players and his support, pretty much. With GH, he pretty much never buys wards most of the time unless he's playing heroes like Io, I've noticed, and he always gets a lot of farm if certain team fights go Liquid's way or certain trades go their way. But this is good, killing both Kuroki and GH, and like his Blink Dagger is pretty much, I won't say worthless at this point, but they're not getting much value out of this really early Blink Dagger from the Earthshaker because of how ig.v are playing. They're grouped up, and on a full 5v5 team fight, Liquid are still not that strong yet, because keep in mind, with Sven, again, I said he ramps up with a lot of items, but with levels as well. He is level 2 ultimate, and again, with just the Blink Dagger and the Mask of Madness, ig.v are really good at playing against with this timing. Same thing we saw last game, where the Sven got to this certain level and they're actually able to find really good fights. I think ig.v realized their timings well, and I think their prom in last game was moving on towards the mid to late game. I think their mid game is pretty good. As you see there, they get a good smoke off, take the tower, get 2 kills, and they just retreat back onto the side of the map. They got a Blink Dagger on the Bat Rider now, and at this point, Liquid's game plan is to still farm it out, get to the late game. They're happy with how the game is going so far. They haven't lost anything major, and they don't really care that much about ig.v getting to the late game. Sure, Sven is relatively scary, but they have a lot of heroes to deal with him. BKB is a must for him, but then they have a BKB counter in the Chronosphere. If he gets chronoed, a lot of his BKB timing will just be wasted. And DP, of course, pretty strong in the late game, but they do have a lot of burst damage. They have to be careful though. That's how ig.v will win the game. If they don't burst the DP, she managed to survive. They waste too much of their abilities. She definitely can't take over the team fights. And you can see most of the team fights that Liquid have taken were centered around the DP, either trying to kill her or just put pressure on her in general. And already with the Chronosphere up again, they want to play aggressive. Notice Matomen's role. Mind control is actually farming over him at this point. He's just sitting here waiting for an initiation. Surprised that he's not going for some type of item to actually set up his chrono. I guess he's afraid of falling off. He has the Diffusal Blade queued up at this point, and that makes sense if he goes for like a Blink or Shadow Blade or something like that. I don't know. I'll see if he actually decides to go with the Diffusal. They also do have enough initiation and like a hero that can like run in and just create space in the Venomancer, where he doesn't need the mobility item to set up chrono. And here we see a smoke from Liquid. They want to look for anything with their ultimates right now. But ig.v playing absolute 5-man Dota at this point. So I think at this point Liquid is playing the teamfight game, and ig.v are kind of medium with it. So a lot of these fights will come down to execution, who gets the better catch. I think it's really important for Liquid to get onto the Oracle. If he gets his ultimate off, it can be game changing, and we see here they run straight towards the Oracle, but that kind of just baits them into the rest of ig.v, and they're going to lose a big team fight here actually. Again, Depre is the problem for Liquid, and we see it already. And this is before she gets to the true late game. And now they're going to lose all 5. This is a good play from ig.v. Their positioning in that team fight was really good. They had everyone surrounding the Oracle, and of course Liquid are going to run straight towards the Oracle. We saw Mind Control literally just run straight at him and tried to do as much as he can to set up a good Chronosphere, make some space for that, but it just didn't work out, and they lost all 5. But now ig.v will have to be careful. They don't have their ultimates. This is when they're vulnerable. Of course, Liquid don't have theirs either, but they still have potential to get kills. What they have to be worried about is the lasso though. It's going to be up very soon, and they can't split up and farm right away, which is a problem. And normally, like, you see the enemy team use all their ultimates, and you can like split up and farm for a little bit, but it's still not the case for Liquid at this point, and they might just lose a hero right now because of it if GH gets too greedy here. Yeah, so Sakata's only the one to show himself. GH will fissure, and alright, this is going to be a sign for Bat Rider to go. Yeah, GH just died. Oh. 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 Wait. It's a good attempt. He almost got out there, but he will go down. That was really well played there from ig.v. They didn't show anyone other than the DP. Of course, GH wants to go mess with her, and he got punished for it. And at the same time, yeah, the ultimates will be up again. Sven ultimate not on that long of a cooldown. DP ultimate is, and the ultimates will cool down, especially when they get a 5-man wipe later on. It will be even more significant. trade if they get 5-man wipes, of course, as the heroes are dead for a lot longer. They can get a lot more done on the map, taking towers or Shan, and then when the heroes do respawn, their ultimates will be pretty much up already. So the timing window where the ultimates are on cooldown will be a lot tighter for Liquid to punish. Again, I'm not actually sure who won this game, but at this point, like, I didn't say that ig.v have a decent chance, but again, they don't have that much room for error. I say one bad fight and Liquid can easily take the game. That's just Kurl's drafts. They put themselves in a very rough scenario at this point, though. Like, at this point, it's not easy for Liquid to play this game. What they need to do right now is mind control. Of course, we'll continue to split. Again, he can't commit to fully pushing because he'll get caught by the Batrider. ig.v have a really good ganking lineup with the Batrider and Earth Spirit. Puts a lot of pressure on the map. DP can push out the lanes, and as long as they stay off the map on the Batrider for the most part and the Earth Spirit, and of course Oracle will also stay hidden. They never really know if it's safe to go for the DP or not, and if they go for the DP and she gets saved, they will lose all their heroes because they need to commit all their heroes to kill DP, and if DP gets saved, they're going to lose all the heroes that they use to try to kill her, which is a major problem. So all they can do right now is farm it up and look for an opportunity where ig.v gets out of position or makes a mistake somewhere. And they're looking to pressure something here. They have the Serpent Wards and they have Chronosphere, but I don't think they will go for the tower. That's a little bit too risky, and this is where an opportunity for a mistake happens, where ig.v just force themselves into Roshan. Now the Sven gets mana burn. They're feeling confident though because Sven has the BKB. They're going to commit the DP ultimate, and alright, full team fight will break out. Echo Slam, but silence immediately from Cicada, and they're confident in their execution right here in the Rosh pit. They have the BKB on the Sven, but again, Invoker will just get away. Cicada, it's the Yules. I think they needed to wait for Cicada to get the BKB as well, but I don't think it'll matter actually. They're still cleaning up the fight, and they should get Roshan. Miracle, how's his mana situation looking? He still has spells to cast, and I actually think they can still defend this Rosh. ig.v, I don't think they walk back in. Like, if I was captaining for ig.v right now, I'd tell them, like, no, we don't go back in for Rosh, but we can't let Liquid have it either. So you can see they put themselves in a weird scenario now. The DP ultimate's on cooldown, and Liquid have real potential to go into Rosh and steal it here. It's really low, and they just need to scout out the HP, and I think they'll consider it. And Tom, man, we'll scout it out now, and you're going to go for it. Similar scenario, I think, happened in the Liquid vs Secret game. Let's see if this ends up working out. They have God Strength again, and this could be huge, but this also could be disastrous, and it ends up being disastrous. This was Lincoln Sphere. It was Roshan's Lincoln Sphere. Did he stun Rosh instead of a hero? I feel confident. There's the lasso onto the perfect target, and alright, it'll actually work out for them. Liquid didn't move fast enough, and they allowed ig.v to set up again, and for their abilities and BKBs to cool down, and with that, they'll walk back in and take it. It was the risky play, I would say, for ig.v. Not that high risk, but it was risky regardless. If Liquid were to come back into the game, it would be there. But now that it didn't go their way, ig.v significantly ahead now. DP is getting stronger and stronger. She has her level 3 ultimate, has BKB, and she's actually unkillable at this point. Liquid lack damage. They don't have any true physical damage dealer other than in like Invoker's right clicks. And the Void is okay, but he's mostly magic damage just because of his bash, even from the Diffusal Blade, right? And at this point, Liquid has major problems, and the way they're going to win this game now is just create high ground defense, which they're pretty good at. And Miracle will find a nice solo kill for himself there, as Earth Spirit was trying to get some farm up, but yeah, he was trying to get his Yules. Notice now Mind Control will be eclipsed by Void. Mattel Man is taking a lot more of the farm now, as he realizes this will need to go late, and a late game Venomancer is not going to carry this game, but a Void will. He's just going to go for Manta Defusal, so he's transitioning into the true carry Void, as he already went for the build. He never was playing like an offlane Void. He always had the Mask of Madness, and he was prepared for this scenario. And that's why he did go for a Defusal rather than something like a Blink or anything like that. Kuro tanking a gank again. And at this point, this is not one of Liquid's strongest drafts because their split push potential isn't high. Any point, like Miracle can push out the lanes, but until he gets like a Linken's, he does have to be pretty careful. The Batrider will always go for him. Batrider will always play off the map, and as long as ig.v have the vision advantage, it's actually really difficult for Liquid to play this game. They picked the Void in response to the Batrider, but I feel like they got debated. It doesn't fit their playstyle because Void can't really split push. He's a team fighting hero, and their team fights just haven't been going their way. ig.v are just always in the right position. They know when the heroes are stronger, and they're always getting the better initiation in these fights. They have the better vision as well, as you see here. Oh man, bye bye Matama Man. And it's just dog fights. Earth Spirit, it won them the early game really hard. Liquid were always known for winning the early game, but with dog fights, Earth Spirit, they just chose to lane it poorly. And I think if teams were to be able to beat Liquid at TI, they would have to force them into these weird scenarios. They can't allow them to get their best drafts. And I'm not so sure if Kuro, like, he realized that they won game 1 and they're just going to go with some alternative draft for game 2, because they had the option to just pick NP first phase, but maybe they didn't want to show it too many times quite yet. They wanted to save it for later, and it definitely, if that was their strategy, it did work out, because it wasn't until really late into the event where they realized that NP was a major problem when playing against Liquid. And as I mentioned in the last video, there's not much ways you can play around it, depending on how you're going to pick, because he matches up against a lot of heroes, limits your picks in a lot of ways, and with the heroes that can pick up with him, it will just really force you to play a certain way and force you to play Liquid Dota, right? Kuroki's Dota. Kuroki no Dota. And with that, teams just weren't unable to handle it, but you can see in this game, it's clearly ig.v playing their game and Liquid trying to have to respond to it. It's just a DP game right now. She's going to run down lanes. Oracle is just going to follow behind everywhere. And you can just see that Liquid don't have much to do on the map. Like, Kuroki's running around. He's trying to ward to his best of ability. The best of his ability. But a lot of times he's getting de-warded. He doesn't have much vision on the map at this point. You got this one really defensive ward here. He managed to sneak all the way up and get one ward out here. It's actually a pretty good ward. But at this point, they're just losing towers, and they don't feel comfortable split pushing either. But now that they see pretty much everyone is top, they're going to push at the bottom lane as much as they can. But the high ground is under threat now. And again, ig.v not waiting. Really close to the Octarine Mystic Staff for Cicada, but they're just going to go for it. Aegis actually expires, and I still don't think they care. They want a tier 3, and they're going for it. Cicada doesn't have Aegis or anything, but he'll have the backup of the Oracle. I think they'll back off. All they wanted to do there was force Liquid back. They need to get a good retreat here, because they know that Liquid will go for them though as soon as they see the Sven in the bottom lane, and they might actually go for the Sven himself. Yeah, so all ig.v wanted to do there was force Liquid back. Don't allow them to split push at all. Force them to 5-man, again, group up in their base, and that's exactly what they did. The Void and the Earth Shaker were in the bottom lane for a second there, but as soon as they saw the DP with the ultimate going high ground, they had to go back. Sven made sure he didn't overextend there and managed to get himself out, and now all ig.v have to do is regroup. They don't have the Aegis, but they're incredibly strong. They left the Batrider in the top lane in case anyone stayed, but no one stayed. They were smoked up. So at this point, what Liquid need to do to win this game is to defend high ground first of all, and then find these type of scenarios where they can potentially get a pick off, but IGV not giving it to them. They're doing a good job. This might be the first good fight they'll have in a while, potentially, as Sakata was fighting without Exorcism, and they'll lose Paparazzi here, most likely. Aqua Slam comes in, there's the lasso, but I still think that IGV will come ahead here. Ooh. Alright. Actually not. Miracle is actually really strong at this point. He's level 20. And this is where I said one mistake from IGV can be disastrous in this game. And I think it's just happening. Did they lose racks here? That's the question. I think they did. The Sven just dies without a buyback. They fight. Oh no, never mind. DP ultimate's up again. And it's an Octarine. And Liquid will be forced to back. They have no chance of killing the DP at this point, and this Exorcism will just force everyone back. They took half damage to their tower, so it's actually pretty good for Liquid, but again, it's not that easy for them yet. It really goes to the super late where they will have an easier time playing this game, like 6-slotted Miracle, 6-slotted Void, and almost 6-slotted, if not 6-slotted Mind Control, which will be a really long time from now. And at this point, I feel like IGV will have a lot of opportunities to just end the game before that happens. I think next Roshan is extremely critical for Liquid. If they can take it, that's buying them a lot of time. Even if they don't get anything out of the Aegis, just denying it from IGV will buy them 5 minutes. And that's a long time for Miracle to farm, get his next set of items up. And after that, he'll just continue to be more powerful, and the Sven will get weaker and weaker. DP, of course, will always be a threat, even in the super late, but the Sven will eventually fall off. He kind of will just go in, burst a couple heroes, and if they manage to survive, like they'll get ACs up or whatever. I don't know if I'll actually buy that, but I guess Venom Man's here, if anybody. I don't think Void could buy it as well. And Matoman actually went back into the Shadow Blade, realizing that his initiations are relatively important. He can't afford to just go greedy with the Manta and try to straight up carry the game like that. He can still go back for it after, but his chronos are pretty important. He needs some way to set up. And they also have the Shadow Shaman with the Serpent Wards and Aghanims, and you can notice that Kuroki is literally rushing Aghanims. He doesn't care about Blink Dagger. Blink Dagger's not going to do it for them. They're not going to go for ganks or anything like that, so he just wants the Ags so that he's going to have stronger wards in the team fights. And in addition, if he can manage to not use his wards in the team fight and they still win, he drops the Aghanims wards in the base and they can clean up racks real fast. Notice IGV are still playing like they want to end the game right now. They realize that they have a timing and they need to hit it. The Sven will fall off. He's really strong right now, but like 20 minutes from now, he'll be not worthless, but he'll definitely be a lot less effective. So they'll just walk straight into Rosh here. They should be able to take it no problem, but Liquid will try their best. But this is really good initiation already. The stun comes out, and they'll burst GH immediately. They get the chrono on the critical target there, the Oracle, but it doesn't matter. Everyone's dying. They get the Aegis and the cheese. Kuroki is gonna die, but he saves the rest of his team, I think. Barrier goes down, but Gem gets saved immediately, and everyone from IGV should be able to get out. So I say this fight's really important, so we're gonna watch it again. Of course, Void will go directly onto the Oracle. This position for him is good, but I think he ideally be like a lot further away. This is the obvious route for Liquid to go, is to wrap around this right side. It's a lot harder to wrap around like this, right? This way. Of course, they have a shrine here, but I think like his ideal position is probably somewhere right here. Right here. But he does get caught. Of course, they probably would have won the fight harder if he ended up surviving. Someone else would have ate the chrono. And so Matoman is not going to walk all the way in here. Like, they'll have a sentry and he'll see and stuff like that. But the fight will continue. It's literally Miracle Dota right now as he's trying to fight for his life. And he should get out. They don't have enough disables to lock him down, and he might actually even turn this. Alright, he gets silenced, but he's just manning up, attacking. And Paparazzi already used the cheese. He kills him here. Miracle Dota kills him. GH comes back alive, and they actually win the fight. That's Aegis gone. Buyback force from dogfights, and Miracle carrying right now on Liquid. BKB pop from Cicada. They're gonna clean up here. Again, you can see where if Oracle survived, how much more they would be able to win this fight. Like, Miracle will not be able to do this, and at this rate, like, Cicada might end up dying again. They still have the Oracle ultimate. Oracle has to watch out though. He got sent up in the air by a tornado, and Miracle will get out, but Kuroki once again will lose his life. And the net worth swing there is not too significant, but again, it's just wasting that Aegis. I said before that Liquid don't really care about getting the Aegis, right? It doesn't really do anything for them, but denying it from ig.v is important. Even though they didn't deny it from them, they killed it immediately, which is pretty much equivalent to denying it from them. And now they're in an actually good position. Miracle managed to survive throughout the entire fight. He got a bunch of kills. He's top net worth in the game now. And now ig.v the one's feeling in trouble. Matoman misses his chrono there. That's unfortunate. I think the Batrider managed to blink out of that one. But now Miracle Dota is under effect. He has a Shiva's guard, his Midas. Use your Midas. And he'll have an Octarine sometime soon, in the next 3 to 5 minutes. With buyback. GH has a Shadow Blade now. Keep in mind that even Kuroki got items. This is the way Liquid played this game. Like, no one fell too far behind. They were behind ig.v, but overall they're keeping up pace pretty much. About 10,000 gold behind before that, but then they took a couple of good fights. Ideally, this fight here, or where was it? It was the one after ig.v went for top racks, where they got a bunch of kills. Yeah, it was here where the Sven died. That was a big comeback for them, and then they took Aegis here. ig.v tried to fight, and it was just Liquid Dota coming into effect. The way ig.v ideally wanted to play this, most likely, was to just abuse the fact that they were that far ahead and not give anything to Liquid. I said one bad fight, even if it's not entirely bad, like it's not a team wipe or anything, to Liquid can just allow them to take over the game, because that's the type of team they are. They make use of opportunities really well. Like, one missing here on the map, one pick off, they can transition into a one team fight, and then suddenly you're losing racks. And they definitely have the lineup to do so. With the Shadow Shaman and Invoker, they can take racks really fast. Now ig.v is in a really weird scenario where they don't really have an option to end the game right now. This Sven hasn't farmed in a long time. I mean, when was the last time we got an item? Boots of Travel, I guess. So he spent all his gold in the Boots of Travel just so he can join his team, because he needs to deal with the split push at this point, because now Miracle's split push is a real problem. He's really hard to pick off now. The Batrider and the Earth Spear is not enough. He has Lincoln Sphere as well, and he is almost unkillable if he wants to just split push. He can do it freely. And as a result, the Sven's forced into a Boots of Travel. Chronosphere comes out from the Tumble Man, hits on 2. Oracle isn't here to save anybody. Paparazzi will turn back around. The Tumble should die here, but he's already done his job in Chronosphering. He doesn't even die. And there's the Serpent Wards coming out. It's not Aghanim Serpent Wards. Batrider gets a lasso. Not that bad, and they lose 2. Oracle barely gets out. The gem might get saved here. Sven? Yeah, Miracle's gonna kill them all. Tornado into the Sven, into the Sunstrike. Sunstrike misses, but Sven still dies. There's the gem. And it's gotten to that point. Liquids have survived the most dangerous part where they were going to lose the game. And at this point, they're looking powerful. Tumble Man went down so low in that fight, but they managed to come back. And well executed team fight. And now none of these heroes have buyback. That is racks. 1 set, 2 sets, and potentially mega creeps, depending on how they play this push. And again, this Miracle with the Octarine, he's carrying this game. He's the Dark Moon Invoker, and he'll take this game actually. So what ig.v did wrong is, let's say they did wrong, but they pressured. They felt too pressured to go against Liquid because they're afraid of Liquid and what they can do in high ground defense. But if they keep in mind that if they kept the pressure up, Liquid weren't going to get that much farm on the map. The reason why Miracle got this farm so quickly is because they took these team fights. I did mention it earlier in the video where you have to be careful about what team fights you give Liquid. Even if you take like an even fight or somewhat advantageous fight, if it's a trade and is not a full wipe, the heroes from Liquid will start to get farmed, and you have to be careful of what heroes you're giving these kills to. And because in the early game, a lot of kills were going to GH, where he got a really early Blink Dagger that allowed them to at least take mid-game fights, and if not, force ig.v into being a little bit cautious, because of course you always have to be cautious when playing against a Blink Dagger Earthshaker, and that just bought a lot of time from Miracle. They still ended up winning a lot of fights, but it's not as much fights as they could have been winning if, of course, GH was more shut down. And as a result, they took a lot of mid-game fights that resulted in Miracle getting a lot of kills, and this was huge for him. And you can see it there where he was literally 1v2ing with an Aegis and Cheese on the enemy team as well, so it was almost 1v4 against the cores. And as a result, he just cleaned up, got the kills, and eventually carried the game. That's mega creeps. There is not much more to say here. Liquid pretty much have the game in terms of defending mega creeps. ig.v don't have the best lineup. They're also missing heroes already, and Miracle is ungodly farmed. He has a refresher orb. He even just bought out without buyback. They're feeling that confident, and the game is pretty much over. How much longer do we have? I'm going to speed through the rest of it. There's not that much more to see. If you really want to watch the replay for Miracle Dota, you can watch that. But let's use this time. I'm going to go 1.5 speed to just talk about the game in general. So it seems like what happened here is these Rosh fights against Miracle. Of course, this area like this is literally the best area for a hero like Invoker. We're going to just throw his tornado. Like these choke points are here, these high grounds where you can hit the tornadoes, the combos, meteors, and ice walls, where he can just do what he wants, right? He's really hard to catch if he's like playing up in this cliff area, up in this area, because he always has a way to get out and run really fast at that point. And again, ig.v don't have the best catch, right? Sven goes in and tries to stun, then he just gets kited, stunned once, and without his BKB, the Invoker just runs away, comes back in, casts a spell, and he'll always come ahead in the fight unless he gets bursted. It's kind of similar to the DP, right, where DP, if she survives the fight, she'll come in and she's unfightable. Same thing can be said for Miracle, but even at a higher level, because DP's ultimate is on a cooldown, where Invoker, he'll always have his spells up once he gets his Octarine, right? And with that, like, he's unfightable. They need to burst him, but they can't because he's too tanky. He's sitting on 3,000 HP. He has a lot of backup, and at this point, they actually can't do anything. This is just the power of late game Invoker. And that's why I said that Liquid's draft will just outright win if they can get to the late game. That's why they weren't feeling that pressure. Again, ig.v had a pretty good time in this game in terms of taking these fights, but they still were feeling too pressured, and I feel like that's not the way to approach it. They need to be more composed and realize where they can lose the game. Because at this point, like at some point, like the game wasn't guaranteed to them, but it was a lot easier, for example, than if they took a bad fight against Liquid, forcing something where they didn't really need to. Because keep in mind, if they keep the map pressure, right, Miracle is not going to get that much farm. Like, he can't go that far out, and like even with just like, he had Boots of Travel, Aghanim, the Lincolns. and part of Ishiva's. He's not gonna be able to go that far out. Like, I'm gonna actually go back to this point. It looks like the game will be extended because they managed to defend. They can still win, but the chances are so slim that it's not that likely. Liquid just need one thing to go their way. They kind of have to finesse it a little bit still. In terms of brute forcing it, they can't really do that. They'll have to like take a team fight or rat a little bit, like drop serpent wards on the throne and things like that. But they'll eventually be able to sneak in the win. But so I'll just go back to this point. This point, not this point. So when was this in the game? My Tomaman died here. Now let's go back a little bit. Oh yeah, I remember this. So this is the Roshan where they attempt, and this ended up being pretty good. I don't think Miracle ended up dying here, did he? Oh, he did die. So what happened was, no, he didn't die. Yeah. So what happened was they went in for a fight at Rosh, and then they ended up losing the fight, but Liquid weren't strong enough to take Rosh away from them because they still kept some heroes alive. I think they had to buy back dogfights or something like that. This was the right fight. No, he didn't have to buy back. That was the one after this. Anyway, so what happened here was they went for Rosh, and then Miracle came in and got a bunch of kills or whatever, or stopped them from rushing. But then Liquid tried to rush themselves. They came back in, they lost the Void, and then ig.v came in and rushed anyway. But again, this didn't need to happen. They could have just waited to be a little bit stronger. I think one of the heroes was close to an item. I think it was the DP with the BKB. Sven had his BKB, I know that for sure. I think DP didn't have hers. We'll go back and check. Alright, this is hard. How do I get the right time? Yeah, she didn't have hers. It was still in base. So they take the fight. The DP doesn't have her BKB. They ended up losing a hero or two, and then they'll have to walk back, regen or whatever, and then they do go back in for it. It actually didn't end up being bad. I think they only lose the Earth Spirit there. Oh, they lose a couple. Hold on. This is hard. Oh, they do only lose the Earth Spirit. Yeah, Sven gets really low or whatever, but he has BKB, so he's fine. I thought he died here. Oh yeah, it was a really good play from Zakata. Canceled the combo from GH. Earth Spirit dies. I thought Oracle died here and Sven died for some reason. That was the other fight. So anyway, this isn't go bad at all, so this is not what I was looking for. I'm sorry about this. I don't remember the timings. It's a relatively long game. So it would be right here. This is the fight I was looking for. It's not around Rosh. So this is a really good play from Paparazzi. Avoids the gank here. So I'm going to speed it up because I don't want this video to be that much longer. It's already an hour long. So really good play to avoid the gank here, and then he just goes mid. And yeah, Earth Spirit ends up dying. They waste the Oracle Ultra on him. Then he goes in, gets hexed immediately, but then takes too much damage from the servant wards. Runs too far deep. And this is a really well set up smoke. ig.v lost a lot here again. Before I said one fight can go bad for them and they can lose the game off of it, and this is the fight. This one fight. they were in a very good position to win the game. They just needed to wait a little bit for the next rush. They can take it pretty much uncontested as long as they're set up. But then, like after this fight, they go for the next rush. Miracle significantly more farm. He'll have his just look what he got out of this. By the time next rush spawns. Yeah, so by the time they attempt the next rush, you'll have a Shiva's Guard. And I can assure you that this is no way going to happen if ig.v continued just to take map control and stayed off the map when Liquid stayed off the map. And this is something that's really important to note, is if the enemy team is off the map and you're ahead, you stay off the map as well, because you're going to give them no chance to get a good initiation on you. And they're not going to out-farm you during that time, right? What are they doing when they're off the map? They're not farming anything. And if they are farming anything, they're farming the jungle. If they're farming the jungle doesn't give that much gold. And that's all ig.v need to do to have a lot better chance to win this game, is if as soon as they see Liquid off the map, no Liquid on map, Miracle's not pushing out the lane, they stay off the map as well. They can even hide next to their base or whatever, but because they showed heroes, they got caught, and then they ended up losing the game off of one bad fight. So I'm not going to let the video go on for any longer. If you get anything out of this video, I didn't do much of a recap, but that's one key thing to playing against Liquid and this type of lineups that they have, or just any team in general, where if you are ahead with a huge advantage, you need to not show on the map at all if the enemy team are off the map, because they will be smoking, and that smoke, if it hits onto anything, will allow them to come back in the game significantly off of just a couple kills. You see only the Sven, I think, and the Earth Spirit ended up dying there, but Sven gave up, what, 900 gold? You can actually scroll up here. Wow, yeah, 935 gold. Earth Spirit, of course, didn't give up as much. And that's just buying time as well. It's time for the Sven to respawn. It's a lot of gold, and during that whole time, of course, when he's dead, you're actually going to be able to farm the creep waves, because of course they're not really afraid of getting caught out with a huge core hero dead like that. So Miracle managed to get, I don't know how much gold, but it was a full Shivas by the time next Roshan respawned. And I think, like, if the Sven just played safe, they farmed up the map together and they kept alive, no one died, Miracle, it would no way would have Shivas for the next fight there at Rosh, and that's a significant game changer in that team fight, having a Shivas and not having a Shivas, and that allowed him to defend the Rosh. They didn't actually manage to stop the Rosh, but he was able to take the fight at least, right, as you saw, and even kill the DP and the Sven, force a cheese, and that ended up winning them the game. So it all started with that fight there. You can see the gold swing there. It started from these 2 kills here. Miracle just killed, hold on. So it started here, they killed the Sven, then they killed the Earth Spirit, and then you can see how much that snowballed. It's actually insane. And with that, I'm going to end the game, or the video, not to end the game, I'll end the video. It's been a long video. I haven't eaten anything as I woke up this morning, so I'll go do that right now. And if you guys enjoyed these type of videos, make sure you leave a like down below. Again, I'm doing every single game between Liquid and, or every single game that Team Liquid played at TI. See you in the next one, and again, like the video if you enjoyed this, or this helped you out, you thought this was interesting, and if you want to see more, again, make sure you subscribe, because I'm doing every single video that, or every single game that Liquid played. I can't talk anymore. See you guys in the next one, and peace out.